This is the OTB Television Network.
Saratoga to get going. At the top of the stretch, it's CP West in front. And now Calvin Burrell asking the Derby winner for run. And Street Sense and CP West. And they are head-to-head for the lead. And it is Street Sense in front. Street Sense has taken the lead just inside the 8th pole. CP West is second. Sightseeing move late. But Street Sense is the winner in the Jim Dandy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Down the Stretch. I'm Mark Casano. Beautiful day here at Saratoga on Test Stakes Saturday, and my co-host Mike Weiss will join us in just a couple of moments. Over the next 60 minutes, we will be bringing you 4 very special guests. In fact, in just a couple of moments, we'll welcome in the first duo. They were front and center during the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown this year. We're going to chat with them about their Kentucky Derby hero, Street Sense, as well as their Alabama entrant, Lady Joni. Carl Navsger and Calvin Burrell will join us in just a few moments. Then a bit later on, Mr. Rick Violet, who will saddle the likely favorite Dream Rush in this afternoon's Grade 1 test. And finally, Mr. Neil Howard, who tomorrow will send Postward Brilliant in the 4-Star Dave. Along the way, we'll show you a number of Saratoga stakes going to the internal breaks, answers to your emails, and much, much more if you stay with us on this absolutely glorious summer Saturday here in Saratoga. Well, our first pair of guests this morning they've had a pretty good week here at the spa. Last Saturday, they brought back Kentucky Derby hero Street Sense to win the Jim Dandy. And this past Monday, they snuck Lady Joni in the entry box in a prep for the Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Navsger and Calvin Burrell. Gentlemen, welcome back to Down the Stretch.
Thank you, Mark.
How are you?
Great
to see you, gentlemen.
Really good.
Calvin, let me ask you first. You took off your mounts yesterday. Everybody's been asking me. Everything okay?
Yes, sir. I'm fine. Just had a system a little bit. Something I ate, I think.
And Carl, welcome back to Saratoga.
Thank you.
As I said, pretty good last week, huh?
A nice last week, you know. We ran one that ran 5th. That was too bad. The other ones I liked better.
Well, let's talk. Let's get to our discussion on Street Sense. And Carl, let me ask you this. Is relief the proper word to use when you're talking about bringing a sensational colt like Street Sense back to the races off that layoff and getting him a winning effort? Are you relieved to have gotten that behind you?
Yes, I think that's the best word you can use, because you're expecting, you're wanting to see if he's going to come back, and when he does it and he runs like he did here the other day, and Calvin and everything, you're relieved. That's a great word. That sums it up. You're not really thrilled because the big test's still in front of you, but you're relieved that you're back.
Carl, you skipped the Belmont Stakes to give him some additional time. Did that time do him good? How did he change in that time he was resting?
That's a hard way to describe it. How did he change? He matured. How does a 13-year-old boy turn 18, 18-year-old boy turn 22? You mature. That's all it is. It's you see it. They become more balanced. They become they just grow up and they become more muscle, but not heavy muscle or anything. They just develop.
Calvin, how did he look to you? How much different did he look to you? And how much different did he feel to you since the Preakness Stakes?
Well, I've been getting on him since the Preakness Stakes, but he had, give him a little time off, and I've been working him. And then, the last good work we got into him before we come here, Carl told me, let's see where we're at and give me something to look at and see where I'm at, and I set him down a little bit at Churchill. He worked unbelievable. Colt blossom out so much, it's unbelievable, and he's forward. He's going forward right now. He's, not going backwards.
Well, that's wonderful. Let us now take a look at last Saturday's Jim Dandy Stakes. Street Sense will be number 3 as we take a look at it. Carl, in addition to winning, what were you looking to get out of the Jim Dandy? What type of race did you want for Street Sense coming back?
Well, it's like I talked to Jim, to Calvin before the race. I said, and Mr. Taffel and I had spoke, and I said, you know, he's going to be fresh, so let's lay a little closer. If we do make Monmouth, we're going to have to lay closer. Let's see what we got here today. Let the horse be into it more today. Let's see if we can still get our punch, still get home. And what you get out of a race like this is you get fitness that you can't put in training. Like we went 23-2, not a fast pace, but not a slow pace. 47 and change, not a fast pace, but not a slow pace. So we're right on it. Everybody's got plenty of horse at the top of the lane, and you get your timing. You get a horse relaxing. They're back running. They're back in the game again now. You have a schedule you can train to a little better now.
Calvin, you made a decision here on the backside to go inside, and you have ridden this horse as close to perfectly as anyone could. But why did you make the decision to go inside here, particularly since we've got a long shot leader on the front end who's going to throw it in reverse pretty soon? Talk to the audience about that decision.
Well, you know, it's shortest way around there, and I know what kind of horse he is. You know, I mean, he'll put me in a spot where I want to be, and he's a horse that likes to be bottled up a little bit. You know, in time, it keeps him more focused. You know, I mean, the horse in front's going to stop here, and I'm going to ease out. You know, I was really trying to give me something to run at. You know, because once he gets in front a little bit, he goes to Dawkins a little bit. You know? And I'm still trying to get him to keep going, you know. And you see, you know, and the last time I got beat, I still say that if, you know, Horse Sponge would have kept going a little bit farther, I think I'd have had a target to run at, and where Street Sense would have went on by him and kept running, you know. And you see, when he makes the lead, he kind of pulls up a little bit. But that's the only fault this colt has, you know. And like when I win the British Cup, I got him against the fence where I could get into him good right-handed. He went on about his business, you know. And so, and in the Derby, it was the same thing. But, you know, sometimes you can't always do that, you know. Sometimes you gotta, and both times we got beat, you know, I was kind of away from horses, and he kind of, you know, he messes around a little bit down the lane.
Carl, be honest with our audience. When Calvin went inside down the backstretch, what was your first thought?
Not anything really. I just, because you're in a field like this, and we knew we did not want to pull the trigger too early. Now, if you watch this horse when he hits a lead here, you watch his ears. He's just an automatic out of the way, and he's running here. Comes to the other horse.
And CP West ran very
well.
CP
West, I told Nick before the race, I said, look to me like you're coming to this thing just right. Now look here. Well, now he leaves him. Now watch his ears here. You can see him all the way home here now.
And he's just messing around.
There his head just came up right there. And he does that. That's what he does.
From a trainer's standpoint, and you've worked with so many brilliant horses over the years, what do you do with this colt to try to get him to continue to run on, as Calvin said, and not put his ears up, you know, when he makes the front?
Banshee Breeze would do that when we first started, but the only thing I can tell you can only do is just hope and pray, and that's his race. If the race sets up and you take the lead too early, you take it too early. If you wait too long, then you may not get up in time. So it makes it a lot harder for Calvin, and it's nothing we can do except Calvin's got to see if he can keep him busy when he gets by a horse.
So you've got to time that
Yeah,
move.
I try to time it just right, you know, I mean.
And that's hard to do.
It is. Curlin, you know, last time when he come back, he was getting out so bad around the turn, you know, and I had no opportunity but to go, you know. I couldn't sit and let him switch leads and come over and all of this. And I went on about my business, and I still taught the colt run, you know. We set a track record and everything, but he still does pull up a little bit, you know, like he did the other day. And you know what? He's not as bad as Churchill because the crowd's a little bit farther away. Over here, to me, the track's a little narrow, and you know, he won this, you know.
Calvin, how much does it get you pumped up? I mean, all athletes want to ply their trade in front of a lot of people who are getting into it. When you brought Street Sense back after the Jim Dandy, obviously, when you brought him back after the Derby, that was incredible. But how about the response you got from the folks here in Saratoga on the way back?
It was unbelievable. But they know what a great animal is, you know, and the time I put into this horse, the time Mr. Carl put into this horse, you know, and everything. I mean, I treat him like a family, you know. He's something special for me, and the people know that, you know. he's my dream come true, and all the people in the grandstand know that, and they get into that, and they love it, and they love to see a horse win like this, because he's a special horse.
He truly is. Okay, boss, is that the type of race that he's going to move forward off of?
Yes, definitely. That's exactly the race that he'll move forward. He had to run to get there. He'll get fitness out of it. He'll get timing. He'll relax a little better. He'll be Calvin. I think will have a little better control of him next trip. I mean, the horse was a little anxious this trip, and but yet he still listened to Calvin. But I think he will come back better.
On a scale, let's try to quantify this a little bit for our audience. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the absolute best, the type of race you wanted out of the Jim Dandy, what did you get?
10.
It was that good.
It was that good because of timing, and there's not any excuses there. Everything I wanted. He came out, he cleaned up at night. We had plenty of horse left to go back track, jog the next morning. He was sound. It was everything you wanted. I mean, we were there. We was right on the pace. We closed. We finished our race off. Couldn't ask for any more.
Calvin, any problems? Were you pleased with that
sir.
performance?
Very pleased. Very, very pleased. He didn't overextend himself. He did just enough. Galloped out after the race. The horse come back to me. He galloped out real strong. And you ought to see him now. He's happy as a camper.
Calvin, are you going to win the Travers?
I'm going to Travers.
Okay. There you have it. Well, let us now find out if before they win the Travers, they're going to win the Alabama. And for a discussion on the wonderful 3-year-old filly, Lady Joni, here's Michael.
And
Michael?
we're not, good to see you this morning, gentlemen.
Michael.
And thanks for being with us. And we're not only talking Travers, we're talking Alabama, the other classic up here at Saratoga. And we're talking about Lady Joni. And Carl, I'll start with you. As you brought her to the races last year as a 2-year-old filly, were you thinking she might get this good?
Well, we definitely thought she was an Oaks filly. Mm-hmm. But when we got to Florida and we put her in training, she just wasn't doing right. She started basically like Street Sets did. We had backed up another 2-3 weeks on him. We had to back up on her. But since she had ran the last of November, time we got her back going and she wasn't doing right and backed up, there was not any way we could get our timing going again to get into the Oaks. So we just said, let's set for the Alabama.
Well, we're mighty glad about that. And she had a prep last Monday in the Banshee Breeze for the Alabama. We're going to take a look at it in just a moment, and when we get that up, she will be number 4 here, Lady Joni. And again, Carl, for you, as an Alabama prep, talk about this performance, again, as an Alabama prep.
Well, this was a good prep except for one thing. We actually didn't get pushed hard enough in this race. I'd love to have had a horse in front of us there and us setting about a length and a half off the horse. This filly's got speed, but I think she's like any horse. If she's looking at somebody, she stays more focused. And but as far as a prep, what we wanted, we were tickled to death, and I'd give this one a 9 because of the situation. But at the same time, this was a perfect prep over the track. Now, when she hits the Alabama, we're going to run into, I think, a filly called Rags to Riches and Octave again, and some really nice ones. So it's going to be very tough. It's a really tough race, and we haven't hooked that tough a horse yet.
She's a beautiful moving filly.
She hooked Octave and ran second to her in Belmont.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're going to have to really come back and put together some things here.
Well, you said to us that week that you went to Belmont to find out, if she belonged in this company, and clearly the Mother Goose said that she did. You trained her mother, Otzi, and she was an unbridled. Is there unbridled in here?
She's an unbridled. Yeah. A lot of unbridled in her. We bred back to that stallion with a couple of mares this year because we like what he's doing. He put a lot of running horses, but she's a big unbridled looking type mare, and she runs like unbridled, except she's got more speed. She runs like Manistee. She's one pace.
That's an interesting comparison. Yeah.
She's a one pace. She doesn't really have a kick. She's just a big one pace grinding, just a lot like Manistee.
Who came for the
that would give Rags and Riches an advantage over us, like Banshee had over Manistee, because Rags and Riches has got a kick.
She certainly does. Yes. Just ask Steve Asmussen.
Why not? That's what I mean. That's what you got to look at here. And now, so we've got a lot of work cut out here for us in the Alabama, and but we're looking forward to the challenge.
Carl has highlighted these differences among horses, and Calvin, I'm going to ask you. I think the audience would like to know the difference of the feel in this filly versus the difference of the feel of the colt. You know, I think fans would like to hear about that.
It's a big difference, you know. I mean, the colt, you know, she's a nice filly.
Oh,
you know,
God,
don't
you
take
know.
nothing against her. I mean, but I still say, you know, what fillies against the colts, you know. I mean, it's kind of hard. But I think my colt, you know, he's the best horse in the country right now, you know, and best horse I've ever been on. And you know, and it's hard to put them together, you know. I mean, this is a nice filly. She's a little bit more forward, you know, which it's not. It's good in a way, and it's not good in a way, you know. And I love a horse like, you know, we got street sense to relax, come from behind, and if I want him there, he's there.
Yeah.
He'll do anything.
Yeah.
He'll do tricks if he wanted to, you know. I mean, that's the kind of horse she is. Now this filly, she's a little temperamental, and she got her colts, you know.
Yeah.
And we're working on her though.
Any concerns, either one of you, for an off track with her?
No.
Yeah.
No, she's not. I don't think anything will bother her. She'll run over anything. She's ran over Polytrack. She's ran over everything that we put her on.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you both.
Thank
And
you.
good luck for both. Wow.
Well,
Thank you.
it has been a pleasure to have you both
It
on
sure
the program
has.
this morning, as always.
Yep.
You know, we've been doing it for a long time.
Right.
Calvin, we've had a
Thank
lot
you,
of fun.
sir.
Thanks to you and
Appreciate
your
it.
agent, Jerry Hissam,
Thank you.
for setting all of this up. You gentlemen have enjoyed a wonderful Saratoga. Didn't take you very long to get to the winner's circle opening day in a
Yes,
nice
sir.
grass race for, I believe, Ronnie Werner.
Yes, sir.
Nice job. So enjoy the rest of the meet. We'll
Okay.
look forward to seeing you in the Alabama and winning the Travers.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
The guarantee was made.
Carl Navsgar and Calvin Burrell. And we are up to our first break on this morning's Test Stakes Day edition of Down the Stretch, live from here at beautiful and historic Saratoga. When Michael and I return, we will welcome in Mr. Rick Violet, who will saddle the likely favorite for this afternoon's test in Dream Rush. As we go to the first break, last Saturday on the Whitney undercard, the Gopher Wand, where the favorite was number 5, Ginger Punch. I talked to her trainer, Bobby Frankel, in the paddock before he sent her out. And as always, Bobby was concerned. Well, I'm wheeling her back quick. She worked kind of quick, and I'm a little concerned about the distance. Let's see if Bobby's concerns were really founded. As we take a look at the Gopher Wand going to the break, and Michael and I will be back with Rick Violet right after these messages.
And they're off. And Teammate strikes out for the lead in the very first few strides, but Ginger Punch won't let her get too far away. So it is Teammate to be the early leader. And Ginger Punch sits back in second. Plaid on the outside of Erman and is 2.5 lengths back to Miss Shop, and Soul Search will be the early trailer. So they have given the early lead to Teammate here, and Teammate goes on unchallenged in the opening quarter mile to lead by 1.5 lengths. Stalked by Ginger Punch second. The opening quarter was sensible, 24 2/5 seconds. So they make that turn into the backstretch run. Teammate uncontested lead. Ginger Punch sitting a cool and calculated second. Plaid just outside of Erman, who's on hold. Under a good hold there is Erman running along in fourth. 2 lengths back, Miss Shop, also under restraint by Javier Castellano. 4 lengths back to Soul Search, who trails the field. So they continue the run down the backstretch after an opening half mile in 48 4/5 seconds. The fractions have been moderate for Teammate. A length behind with a half mile to go is Ginger Punch, and now Rafael Barrano says go with Ginger Punch now, ratcheting up that pressure on Teammate. 2.5 lengths back to Plaid. And now Erman has asked for a run, but she's still 4 lengths behind with 3 furlongs to go. They've run 3/4 in 1:12 4. And it's Teammate by a neck as they come to the quarter pole. Ginger Punch right at her throat latch now as the field turns for home. Plaid is third. Miss Shop swings into action on the outside. Top of the stretch now. And Ginger Punch driving to that lead. Ginger Punch will come to the 8th pole, going away by 2. Teammate has no response to that. They're coming down to the final 16th, and Ginger Punch in a runaway here. Ginger Punch on her way to the Breeders' Cup with style. Won it here by better than 6 lengths at the finish. Miss Shop came on for second, and Teammate was third.
Hi, I'm Rick Violet. And in my office, we always have on capital OTB TV.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano. Our thanks go out to Carl Navsger and Calvin Burrell for having joined us. You just took a look at the go for Juan, where why in the world was Bobby Frankel worried? Ginger punched by 6 under Rafael Bejarano. Miss Shop and teammate, both for Mr. Alan Jerkins, run 2 and 3. Well, our next guest this morning is, well, he's been a regular on this program for much of the 15-plus years we've been on the air. Later this afternoon, he will saddle the likely favorite in the Grade 1 test. Ladies and gentlemen, the trainer of Dream Rush, Mr. Rick Violet. Rick, welcome back to Down the Stretch.
Good to have you, Rick.
Nice to have you as always. How's it, before I send it over to Michael, how's the filly doing?
She's great. She's taking a nap right now before we head to the monitoring barn, and you know, she's a pretty cool customer, so it's out of my hands now. It's up to her and Abar.
All right, well, for the discussion on this wonderful filly, here's Michael.
Well, we'll try to take you there to the test stakes, and it is a pleasure to have Rick back. He has been so kind to the show over the years, and he is a truly articulate trainer, and we're going to start with Dream Rush last year here as a 2-year-old filly. We had a nice talk about this earlier this week, actually. She trained here at 2, didn't race here at 2, but were you viewing her as something special before her first race?
No, I mean, early on, we knew she was like a nice filly. It took her a long time for the light bulb to go on. She was stuck at halves in 51 and 52, and you liked her. You loved her demeanor, and you hoped there was more there, but it wasn't until a pretty significant gate breeze here where she took off like a scalded cat, and the light bulb proverbially went on, and we started kind of circling a day on the calendar when we were going to run.
Dream Rush is less than 2 lengths from being unbeaten, and I think that's a fact that's sort of admissible, but she's got a splendid record. Her first loss came in her 3-year-old debut at Gulfstream, and you thought that was a very important day. So tell our audience about the circumstances of her losing that day.
Well, we put handcuffs on Rafael Bejarano. It was he rode her that day for the first time, and she was coming off a layoff. We really had our sights set on a stake 3 weeks later, and she had been clear in all her races. And I thought if we were ever going to school her a little bit, get some dirt in her face, we needed to do it that day.
Yeah.
And I really told him I didn't want to be on the lead, and we ended up not on the lead and kind of in a pocket. She got stalled a couple of times around the turn, and we almost had our cake and eat it too when she came running, but we came up a length short. But it enabled us to run back in 3 weeks. We didn't have a monster effort that day. We got some education that will pay some dividends down the road. If we're not on the lead, I don't think it'll be a new experience for her. And I think sometimes you have to do those things to make a racehorse, and you have to try to pick the right time. And we picked that day, and Rafael caught a lot of slack for it, but it was by design.
Well, the next race was the old hat, and Rick is alluding to facing Dreaming Event, and this was a remarkable circumstance. This is the defending Eclipse Award champion filly, fresh in everyone's mind is that, you know, devastating win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Yet earlier this week, I'm going to repeat you what Rick Violet said to me. There's no disdain here. You just got. I was never so confident going into an important race as I was for that one. Tell them why.
I mean, she came out of the prep race in great shape. I didn't have to do a lot between races. She had one breeze. The speed in the race was the filly that we let outrun us in the prep race.
Okay.
And she was outside of us. And I think if we stepped on the gas, there was any chance of her, you know, keeping up with us. And the orders to Raphael that day were to blast off and pretty much try to leave everybody in her wake. Dreaming of Anna off the bridle right away, trying to stay in the race, and that's exactly what happened. And I mean, it was eerie how confident I was.
Oh, gosh. Well, we're going to take a look at her last race, the Prioress at Belmont Park, and this was her Grade 1 victory. And when we get it racked up, she will be number 9, will be Dream Rush here. Rick, talk about this performance and deciding to go here this day.
Well, you know, for the first time in her career, she had an outside post.
There
We had
she
been
is,
1-2 her whole, so she's had plenty of experience down there. There were some very rapid fillies in the race, and you know, we just kind of left it up to Abar how sharply we broke, you know, along with the other fillies, and we kind of let Tickets to Seattle go for maybe an eighth of a mile, and Dream Rush just kind of jumped in the bridle and said enough of that, and loomed up outside of her, and you know, quickly kind of put her away, and we went into cruise control around the turn, and pretty much the rest is history.
Any worry that she'll go backwards off of just a tremendous performance?
I mean, there's always that concern.
Yeah.
I mean, she ran hard here. There wasn't a lot left. She ran a 9 flat, and you know, she did it. She was asked. She wasn't beat to death to do it, but she was asked to run. So there's always that. She's had one kind of sharp breeze since the race, and one kind of very open gallop maintenance breeze. So we've left, kept that in mind. We'd like to have her as fresh as possible. But it's always a concern. But she's been very consistent numbers-wise, and certainly between her races. So Sean Clancy asked me if it was anything I was afraid of going today.
Okay.
And absent bad luck, no.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really, if you walk over a filly like this and you're afraid, you need another job.
Yeah. You're going 7 today. That is not going to be a problem for her. And you've already alluded to this, but I will ask it again. Can she track potentially a wicked pace today?
I think so. The two fillies inside of us, the filly from Philly Park and the new Team Valor filly.
Yeah.
They're pretty high speed. They're stall to stall next to each other, and they kind of have to leave there pretty hard. And we're in a good spot. We're in the middle of the racetrack. We can kind of watch that. Sleet is out. Sheets is outside of us. I'm not sure how really quick she is. She kind of freaked in a sloppy racetrack. She's obviously a fast filly and can run. But again, it'll be up to Abar. We'll try to break clean and size up things, and I think we'll track them for a while. I'm not so sure how long. I think going into the turn at the half-mile pole, we're going to have a whole lot to say with who's in front then.
Well, Rick, I'm really enjoying having you with us here this morning, and thanks for your part. And ladies and gentlemen, this trainer's having a tremendous season this year, and it just might continue in the test today. Mark?
Well, Rick, what else beyond the test are you looking forward to the remaining 4.5 weeks here at the Spa?
Well, we run a pretty nice filly in the Adirondack. She's 1-for-1, a Montbrook filly, a Phantom Income, Claravich stable filly, who won by a polar only start, and she's trained very, very well here. We got some dirt in her face the other day, and I mean, she took it like an old horse and split horses and breezed very quickly. So that's on the 15th, I believe, and then High Finance it will run in the four-go at the end of the meet, and he's coming off a pretty spectacular race in the Tom Fool, so it'll be a fun meet.
Rick Violet is very, very involved in the industry as an officer for the New York Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. Rick, what do you see the future being racing in New York? What do you expect to happen between now and the end of the year?
Well, you certainly like to see some resolution so we can kind of start to map out the future of the industry. the two things that are given, that the horsemen are going to be here and the state is going to be here, and the other players have to be put in place. It sounds like Naira's, you know, in front at this stage of the game, but there's a lot of devil in the detail of what's going to happen with the VLTs and how that union's going to happen. So there's a lot of work to get done. We're leaving a lot of money on the table with the VLTs not up and running for everybody, for the state, for the horsemen, for the racing association, for everybody. So you'd certainly like to see some expeditious resolution rather than, you know, kind of this long, non-productive movement forward. So, you know, I hope eventually they show some of the speed these horses do in the afternoon.
Does your organization have any concerns at all about what right now looks like the probability of working with the New York Racing Association for at least another 20 years?
Yeah, no, I mean, and you know, that's a big step forward. Like I said, the one given is that we're going to be here and the state's going to be here, and there are certain issues that are pretty significant that'll be on the table regardless who the player is. I mean, and Naira is very aware of some of those issues. And I mean, communication with them recently has been great. We worked out a significant purse increase up here and for the latter part of Belmont. And I mean, we're willing to sit down with them anytime to work out and resolve the issues. We're on the same page and on the same side of a lot of these, and we need to be to kind of reestablish New York as the premier racing entity in the country, if not the world. So there's still a lot of work to do. Politics can be difficult and frustrating at times, and so can't slow horses.
Well, the one you're going to lead over this afternoon for the test isn't slow. This is a hard race to win. You know that.
Yep. No,
How confident are you leading her over this afternoon?
I mean, I'm very confident. You know, you need good luck in anything, whether it's sports business. You know, it can be hard to overcome bad luck, but you know, absent bad luck today, she's a good filly. Abar needs to ride her like she's a good filly, have all the confidence in the world, and take it from there. They all get beat. We just hope we don't today.
Rick, as always, we appreciate your time. Our audience always enjoys hearing from you. Good luck this afternoon with Dream Rush. We'll look forward to seeing you the rest of the meet.
Thanks, Rick.
Rick
See you there
Violet,
this
ladies and
afternoon.
gentlemen, and we are up to our next break on this morning's Test Stakes Day edition of Down the Stretch on an absolutely, I don't know how much better it could possibly get on an August Saturday here at the Spa. When Michael and I return, our final guest of the morning, Mr. Neil Howard, who tomorrow will saddle Brilliant in the 4-Star Dave. As we go to this break, last Saturday on the proper surface, the Diana for Fillies and Mares. Mockdara, who had looked so brilliant downstate, was the favorite. The second choice from Hall of Famer Billy Mott, who is red hot at this meet. My Typhoon, who's never been better. So we'll take a look at the Diana going to the break, and Michael and I will be back with trainer Neil Howard right after these messages.
And they're off. And Coniscala goes about her business as the pacemaker here. Coniscala goes on to the front. Morlicana backs off her. Then down toward the inside, it's Magnificent Song. My Typhoon will be prominent early. And there's a break of 3 lengths back to the big favorite here, Mockdara, who will do her running from about 6 lengths off the lead. A break of another 2.5 back to Argentina. At the back of the pack early on are Maribel and Danzon. So Coniscala out there by a length. My Typhoon is now moved into second. Around the first turn, and it is Coniscala the leader. My Typhoon on the outside runs in second. Magnificent Song on hold while third toward the inside. Morlicana's alongside her, fourth by 2. And then it's Mockdara who's seemingly resisting the restraint of Alan Garcia here as they continue their run up the backstretch. The half-mile time, 47 and 4/5 seconds, so they're midway down the backstretch run. Coniscala, My Typhoon, flanking her. Magnificent Song remains in third. Morlicana is fourth. And Alan Garcia has guided Mockdara out of harm's way to the outside as they move into the far turn. Argentina's just inside her. Danzon and Maribel around the far turn. My Typhoon! My Typhoon is taken charge with a flourish, and My Typhoon is in front. Morlicana to the attack. Magnificent Song is third, and Mockdara is in the midst of her rally now. She's fourth on the outside in a full-out drive. Argentina trying to slip through in between horses. My Typhoon comes to the 8th pole. The lead is 2 lengths. Mokhtarah doing her best, and it's not good enough. Here comes Argentina down toward the inside. My Typhoon pleading for the wire on the inside. Argentina, Mokhtarah, not at the spa. It is My Typhoon. My Typhoon has won it. Argentina finishes 2nd. Mokhtarah finishes 3rd at the Graveyard of Favorites.
Hello, this is Jim Bond. You're watching Down the Stretch on the Offtrack Betting Network.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano. Our thanks to Rick Violet for having joined us this morning. You just took a look at the Diana where My Typhoon for Billy Mott, who's having a sensational meet, and a terrific young grass rider in Eddie Castro by 3/4 over Argentina ran very well off the layoff. Mokhtarah only got beat about 1.5 lengths, but not that same punch she showed downstate. Our final guest this morning, well, he trained the 2003 Horse of the Year in Mineshaft. He trained Preakness Winter Summer Squall. He's had Prospector's Delight and Weekend Delight and Tommy Sue's Delight, and we're delighted to have him this morning. One of the nice guys in the business.
Got that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Neil Howard. Neil, welcome back to Down the Stretch.
Thank you.
Nice to have you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having
Welcome
me.
back, Neil.
Thank you, Mike.
You know, before we get into discussion about the horses, we had Carl Navsger and Calvin on earlier, and I want you to relate to the audience a little bit. When I saw you in the paddock last Monday, and Neil had a nice filly in for the Banshee Breeze. And of course, when you see the entries come out, you see this monster from Carl.
Right.
It's what Saratoga's all about,
Exactly. Exactly. That's what Saratoga's just really, really put its best foot forward for the industry the last, well, for forever, but the last few years especially. It's the greatest racing in the world.
I know you had a couple of things to say to your good friend Carl.
Yeah, oh yeah. Told him didn't know how to read a condition book.
Well, tomorrow, Neil Howard will saddle Brilliant for the 4-star Dave, and for that discussion, here's Michael.
Neil, welcome back, and I know you're hoping that he puts his best foot forward, and I'm going to take you back to last year, and I think it's fair to say that Brilliant last year, as I recall, I think it's fair to say that he attracted as much as any young turf horse. He attracted as much attention as any of them for the way he took to grass. We may have even spoken to you at some point during that run. So I guess I gotta say, speaking in general, since that rapid fire ascent of 3 or 4 straight victories, you won the Kent, some zeros followed that. Is there a reason? Is there general disappointment, or is this making too much of a situation with a really good horse?
No, you're not making too much of it. I think that he really is a very, very nice horse, but this is hard to explain sometimes.
No, that's the question.
He ran a fantastic race in the Kent.
Yep.
On a very, very, very boggy turf.
Okay.
He was one of the few horses that handled it, and you could tell that just by looking who finished behind him. Like Aftermarket, who's probably arguably the best turf horse in the country right now. You know, when you get a horse that handles soft going, it makes a big difference, because our horses don't run on it with regularity like they do in Europe and everything like that. And a race, he ran great. It really knocked him out. for a long, long time.
Okay.
He wasn't the same after that for a long time. Went to Chicago, ran bad, but came out with a lung infection, which might have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
had him in a few weeks later at Churchill in the Commonwealth back in November.
Yep.
And he tied up a little bit the day before the race. You know, just little funny things were happening to a nice horse with a lot of constitution that normally shouldn't be happening.
Okay.
And sometimes you can't put your finger on it.
Yep,
But
yep.
I think that race just kind of pulled him a little bit, and it just took him a while to get
Well,
over it.
I realize
Yeah.
it's kind of a nebulous question, but that
Yeah.
really is
I
it.
think
And-
that was the reason. So we gave him the winner
Yeah,
off, and
yeah.
he's been good since.
And folks, when you look at the past performances tomorrow, keep in mind what Neil just said. You're coming out of a pretty good effort. You hooked a really good loose on the lead runner this day. We're talking about the Firecracker, and we've got that all set up. He'll be number 4 on your screen. This is going a mile at Churchill Downs. Neil, tell us about this performance and how it maybe set you up for today or tomorrow.
Well, it set us up really, really well. He ran a great race. He set a nice, comfortable trip. And as you know, Remarkable News was just that. He was
And
remarkable.
he
I
was
mean,
good.
he just,
Yeah.
you know, broke in stride
Mm.
and just literally just flowed around there. And when you get a horse that gets an uncontested lead like that, in addition to the horse being a good horse anyway, that's double trouble right there. I think Ramon Dominguez rode him that day, if I'm not mistaken. You know, nobody, you know, just having a great rider like him on. But, you know, we missed a little time after the race
This
on
one.
Derby Day.
Okay. Oh, the early times.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He got sick after about a few
Okay.
days after that race,
Okay.
so we missed some training, and that's why he didn't run in the Connaught Cup. He was supposed to run in Canada
Okay.
prior to this.
Okay.
So he missed a little training, but then he got back on track. So he came up to this race maybe a little short, but I thought he was doing all he could do from the 3/16 pole home. He just couldn't catch that horse. But I thought he ran good, but he came out of it good and trained really, really good since.
Speaking of training, how is he to take out to the track in the morning? How is he to put through his paces, so to
Very
speak?
good. He's one of the nicest horses I've ever been around. That's part of the reason I didn't realize that he was sick right away
Oh,
after the Woodford
okay.
Reserve. He's
Yeah,
very quiet. He's
yeah.
very laid back. I didn't detect it right away. But see, he ran
Here
good.
he is, absolutely. Yeah, here he is coming down. Now, Neil, you have been reluctant to go any longer than 9 furlongs with him. What's your thinking there?
Pedigree-wise and what he's done so far for me,
Yeah.
he doesn't strike me as a marathon-type horse.
Okay.
He sits a stalking trip, comes hard the last part. He just looks more to me like he's suited for mile 16th, mile and an eighth.
Okay. All right.
That's not to say he couldn't go
Oh,
a mile
no,
and a
no,
quarter
no, no,
under the right
no.
circumstances,
Yeah.
but my gut feeling is that it's
Yeah.
probably not the thing to do.
And you're talking to a gentleman here who's pretty familiar with distance pedigree, so I'd listen to that close. Well, Neil, thank you very much. Here's Mark to talk about an emerging star that he alluded to earlier in this program. So,
Before we talk
Yeah.
about Neil's winner at the meet, I noticed that Brilliant in the Firecracker wore front bandages for the first time. What's that all about?
We just decided to put them on after the race in Delaware last year. I thought over the winter when we started them back down in New Orleans that we had a little bit of an issue, just a little strain more than anything. A lot of this stuff, I hate to keep harking back to the Kent, but that race pulled them a little
Okay,
bit.
okay.
And then everything seemed okay. We went ahead and put the front bandages on, and then I told my assistants, I said, let's just leave him on. He's comfortable with them, and he's doing real well with them now.
Okay, all right. Well, earlier at the meet, in fact, this past Monday in the 6th race, Neil had a wonderful looking winner by the name of Grasshopper. And as we take a look at this, he will be number 11 in the green and yellow silks. Neil, what a performance
Yeah,
this
wow.
was.
Yeah, he's a colt that we were kind of excited about all along. And he just took a while to get to the races. And he needed a little time off last winter. He had a slight little problem with a hind end problem that required to give him a few months off. But then we got him back to the races this spring. And again, we were always kind of excited about him.
As you
But
should be.
Yeah, but you know, you got to let him
Prove it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
sure. Well, here he is stalking the pace of Sharp Attack, 24-1, 48-1, 112-2, and let's face it, folks, other than last Saturday when we had all that rain, which tightened up the track, this track hasn't exactly been tight. He's going to draw off to win this by 6. Neil, only his 5th career start, and you were stretching him out, I believe, off a pair of sprints at Churchill. Did you expect this kind of performance?
I expected him to run well, but I didn't expect that. I didn't really expect that. He really exploded. But, you know, Calvin had a good sense of pace in that race. They weren't flying. The horse is trained okay. He's a decent horse, but I didn't really expect that, though. I mean, it was thrilled about it. Who wouldn't be? But, you know, we just have to see now.
Well, here's Calvin sitting still on him as they turn for home. You've got to be feeling real good, and when he turns him loose, going to draw off to win by 6 in 49-2, which again, other than last Saturday when the track was really tight, 49-2 is good going 9 furlongs here. How'd he come out of the race?
Good. Came out well. He's been back to the racetrack. Real pleased with him.
What are you looking at for him next?
Well, you know me. I'd like to go to Mountaineer with him if I could, you know.
Okay.
I don't know. In a perfect world, another allowance race would be good.
Right.
But, you know, we've got him nominated to the Pennsylvania Derby, and look at those kind of races.
Right.
I mean, I guess we'll think about stepping up a little bit, but we haven't really, you know, penned it in yet, you know.
Okay. Somewhat similar situation in tomorrow's opener for Neil with Smart Bunny coming off a pair of sprints at Churchill, now stretching out to 9. Is she going to run a hole in the wind like he did?
No. I don't think she's going to do that. I mean, she's not a bad filly. She's small, but will die trying, though. Very honest filly, you know. She's a little on the small side, but she can run. She's okay. Very nice bred filly. And I think the stretch out will suit her, too.
Well, it certainly suited Grasshopper to a T.
Yeah.
Neil, congratulations for that big win with Grasshopper. Thank you for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. We always love to see you. And all the best tomorrow afternoon with Brilliant and the 4-Star Dave.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Neil Howard, ladies and gentlemen. We're up to our final break here on this Test Stakes Day edition of Down the Stretch, live from Saratoga Racecourse. When Michael and I return, we'll wrap up the show by giving you a bit of a topical discussion. As we go to this break, the feature race last Saturday, the Whitney Handicap. And as I mentioned, the overnight rains really tightened up the racetrack, but nobody thought they were going to see a performance like this. So we'll take a look at the Whitney going to the break. Michael and I will be back with much, much more right after these messages.
Ready for the start of the 80th Whitney Handicap, and they are off Poppy Chulo. Good start. Fairbanks 2. Wandering Boy is there. Lawyer Ron's going to get caught very wide going into that first turn. Flashy Bull holds his spot at the rail. So they hit the clubhouse turn. Wandering Boy is the leader. Fairbanks right alongside. Lawyer Ron 3 wide round the first turn. And just as inside, Poppy Chulo gets a good spot early. He's running along in 4th position. And then it's Diamond Stripes, 5th, and Flashy Bull, 6th on the inside. After a quarter mile in 23 4/5 seconds. Dry Martini is 7th, and Magna Graduate is 8th, just in behind Flashy Bull. Then Sun King, Brass Hat at the back of the pack. Awesome Twist is the last of them all. So the field down the back stretch run, they're strung out here. It's about 14 lengths from front to back, and up front the leader is Wandering Boy. Wandering Boy, the opening quarter went in 23 4. The half was 47 1/5 seconds. These are legitimate fractions. That Wandering Boy is setting. Fairbanks not far behind, right there second. Lawyer Ron kept close third. Poppy Chulo gets a little nudge there to go at the half-mile pole. He's running along in 4th. Diamond Stripes is 5th. Flashy Bull is under a drive, but no response yet. He is 6th, still about 6 lengths from the lead, with 3 furlongs to go here in the Whitney. Then Dry Martini. Magna Graduate is called on for run, but he's down toward the inside with 8 horses before him as they come to the top of the stretch. Wandering Boy has set the pace throughout, and with 2 furlongs to go, he is still the leader. Lawyer Ron full out on the outside. Fairbanks in between horses. Poppy Chulo is right there. Diamond Stripes on the far outside. Magna Graduate. Flashy Bull still running in 6th. Dry Martini, and here's Lawyer Ron, who storms to the lead just inside the 8th pole, kicks clear, and kicks clear in a big way. Lawyer Ron has won. It was a wide journey and a winning one by 4.5 lengths here. An emphatic victory for Lawyer Ron over Wandering Boy, Diamond Stripes, and Fairbanks. And the final time here was 1:46 and 3/5 seconds. That has demolished the track record.
This is the OTB Network.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. Mike Veach to my left. I'm Mark Asano. Our thanks to Neil Howard for having joined us. And you just took a look at the Whitney Handicap, which on paper appeared to be, well, certainly in my 25 years of doing this professionally, quite possibly the most wide open, highly contentious Whitney I had ever seen. Magna Graduate was the favorite at 4-1, but folks, there were 6 horses between 4-1 and 9-1. It figured to be wide open, and what happened? Lawyer Ron breaks it wide open with a track record-setting performance.
I thought going in that, there were 6, 7, or 8 that it would be like literally no surprise if they won the race, and this is just an overpowering performance. And all I can say is 2 comments about this. One, I always felt, and I have a feeling my partner did too, Lawyer Ron had this kind of race in him, particularly coming out of the Met Mile. But 2, I just marvel at a horse that we watched all of last year, and we couldn't wait to see if Todd could get him to settle and be patient. He didn't panic at all in that big field, and when he saw light at the top of the stretch, and everybody's certifying it as the fastest 9 furlongs in Saratoga history, that's a huge, huge result.
It truly was. Wandering Boy ran extremely well at 29-1, setting a somewhat conservative pace, 23-4, 47-1. But folks, they came home the last 5 furlongs, and I know the track was much tighter this day, just because of Mother Nature. They came the last 5 furlongs in 59-2. I mean, you got to be kidding me. That's incredible. So a monstrous effort by Lawyer Ron. Big announcement this past Monday. Hall of Fame jockey Jose Santos announced his retirement. Jose was involved in a spill back on February 1st. 5 fractures to his spine. The doctors cautioned him if he tried to come back and ride, there was an 80% chance that he would be in a wheelchair or worse. What a career. 4,600 wins, 7 Breeders' Cup victories, including the Classic with Volponi, the Turf with Manila, who was the best horse he ever rode. But of course, the personal highlight of his career came in the 2003 Kentucky Derby when he guided Funny Side, shown right here, to victory. He won the Preakness with Funny Side, the Belmont with Lemon Drop Kid. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, Jose Santos did it with skill, with grace, and seemingly always with a smile on his face. And he will have a huge smile on his face on Monday when he gets inducted into Racing's Hall of Fame.
A well-deserved honor for a gentleman who was always fun to talk to when we asked him to on this show, and a gifted rider who overcame a lot of things to get back to the top of the game for the dry stretch in the early 1990s. Well done, Jose.
Congratulations to Jose Santos. And wonderful news about my equine girlfriend. My wife is standing here, so I have to be very careful. Rags to Riches, shown here, winning the Belmont Stakes, and Steve Asmussen still cannot believe this. Rags to Riches is back. She galloped over the Oklahoma on Wednesday. She may train this weekend. It is certainly questionable if she's going to participate in the Alabama, and while I would love to see her because she's the finest 3-year-old filly on the planet, in fact, she's on a different planet, it's just great to have her back.
We hope that she makes it back. We hope to get to see her here. She's marvelous. She's, you know, if she gets back serious, she'll obviously be racing for Horse of the Year because she'll probably go back against the boys. Folks, in over 70 years of voting, it's only happened twice other times. She could be number 3 next to Twilight Tear and Busher. That's how good she is. I hope she gets the chance. I hope we see her healthy once more.
And news about Chaloki, shown here in the Northern Dancer Breeders' Cup. His last start, he will be number 7. He's down along the inside. Zanero just went by him. He's going to come back. I spoke to Michael Matz earlier this week. Bad news about Chaloki.
Yeah.
He continues to have his physical problems. Michael Matz says, I'm going to put him away for the rest of the year because I think I'm going to have a nice 4-year-old for next year.
I agree. You know, he looks so good, and, you know, funny how things work. They hope he was going to get to the Derby out of the Florida Derby 3rd. But when he came back, I think we both felt he wasn't the same guy that had such pep earlier in the year in Florida. Good luck with him for a 4-year-old. I think he's got a lot of class. Winning those 2 races, by the way, showed me a lot of class.
And finally this morning, how about some Shakespeare in Saratoga? As we take a look at a Thursday allowance race, Shakespeare is number 1. This is his first start in 21 months due to a tendon injury. First start for Kieran McLaughlin. As a 6-year-old, he's making only a 7th lifetime start. Ladies and gentlemen, I have followed his career since day 1, which was February of 2004. He is all class and all heart. But logic this day said that he probably couldn't win. And under Garrett Gomez, you see him 3 wide around the first turn. He'll race outside all the way down the backstretch. He'll be fanned wide on the turn for home, all the time that his main rival, number 3 Artmaster in the Juddmonte colors, is sitting a ground-saving trip under Edgar Prado. But what's going to happen is one of the great performances of this meet, or many recent meets, as Shakespeare is going to just dig down deep and simply find a way to win in his first start in 21 months, and I just love this race.
You got to. I mean, this is just so wonderfully enjoyable. I mean, you know, everyone expected, you know, we're going to take some time to get back to top form. Here it is. We're halfway through the summer, and this guy, as Mark said, it's almost 2 years since he's done anything competitively, and by golly, he just digs down, and he knows where the wire is. I don't have quite the same attachment that Mark does, but watching this and seeing it in person just gave me goosebumps to see a horse do this. You know there's a lot of heart and class here. Well done, Kieran. Oh, wow, I can't even say any more about it. So.
Carrying additional weight, which means he's going to move forward for his next race, which may be the Bernard Baruch here, but if they can get him sound to the Breeders' Cup Mile, watch out. All right, want to let you folks know, we'll read the emails on next week's show. For those of you who would like to correspond with us here at Down the Stretch, here are the ways in which you can do that. Through the United States Postal Service, Down the Stretch, Mark and Mike, Capital District OTB 510 Smith, Schenectady 12305, or electronically. How about this? I'm remembering all of this. At viewer mail at capitalotb.com. Time to thank all the folks who helped get this week's show on the air. Back in the control room in Schenectady, Pete Persico directed, Pat Perretta and Kurt Flick. Here at Saratoga, our associate producer Julie Hoxie, Jim Barber and Dan Hayes. Special thanks to this morning's guests Carl Navsger, Calvin Burrell, Rick Violet, and Neil Howard. Coming up next, Daily Racing Form Seminar. Partner, have a great weekend.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy all the wonderful racing action. Have a terrific weekend and a wonderful upcoming week. And Michael and I will see you next week.
Inside the
final half a furlong to win the juvenile going away.
Coming for home. Watch Over Me, gonna roll over.